Hi everybody! Today I want to talk to you about something that has genuinely shifted how I think about getting older. And I think it's going to resonate with so many of you. It's called the ProAge philosophy. And I recently had the most inspiring conversation about this with Elena Lustig, the creator of ProAge Yoga, on my German podcast, Hallo Wechseljahre. So today I'm breaking down the core principles of that conversation, the core principles of pro-age thinking for you, what it actually means, why it matters, and most importantly, how you can start applying it in your life right now. Because here's the thing, we've been sold this anti-age narrative our entire lives, and it's exhausting. It doesn't work. So let's talk about what does work. Let's dive in. So first, let's talk about what pro-age actually means, because it's not just swapping one word for another. It's more of a mindset shift. Think about anti-aging for a second. Anti-aging, what are we actually saying? We're saying, I don't want wrinkles. I don't want to get old. I don't want my joints to hurt. I don't want to lose my vitality. And listen, I get it. I absolutely get it. None of us wants any of those things, but here's the problem. They are going to happen anyway. Aging is not optional, and I mean, we're lucky that we are aging, right? So the question is not whether we age, the question is how we age. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You have to know what you're for, not just what you're against. Because when you're against something, you can't visualize a solution, the state that you want it to be. You can't manifest an alternative. You're just stuck in resistance. If I say anti-age, sure, I don't want to get old, I don't want wrinkles, I don't want pain, but that doesn't tell me anything about what I do want. It doesn't give me a direction. So, Pro-age asks a completely different question. It asks, what are you for? No, not what are you avoiding? What are you moving towards? How do I want to be as I age? Who do I want to become? What do I want to experience? How do I want to spend my time? What actually matters to me? And what can I let go of? And this is where it gets really powerful, because when you start asking these questions, you create clarity, you create intention, you create a vision for your future self that's actually inspiring. We know we're going to die. The question is when. So do we keep putting things off, or do we say now or never? That's the gift of getting older, that urgency, that clarity, that I'm done compromising energy. And that is pro-age. So let's apply Buddhist non-attachment to getting older. So Elena, who I was talking to about it, she's practicing Buddhism. We get attached to youth, to beauty, to physical perfection, to how we used to look. And when those things start to change, and they will change, we suffer. Not because of the change itself, but because we're holding on so tightly to what was. There's the Buddhist concept called attachment and aversion. We're constantly either trying to keep things we love, or we push things away that we don't want. And our mind just goes back and forth. We're basically at the mercy of our thoughts and feelings. You have feelings and thoughts, but you are not your feelings and thoughts. Let that sink in. That's a crucial difference. You are not your feelings and thoughts. You are the observer. You're the one noticing the thoughts. You're noticing the feelings. But you are not them. Think of it this way. Your thoughts and feelings are like weather patterns. They come, they go. Sometimes it's stormy, sometimes it's calm. But you, the essential you are the sky. You are constant. You are there regardless of the weather. And when you can create that separation, when you can observe your thoughts about getting older without identifying with them, that's when you find freedom. So when you look in the mirror and you think, oh God, look at my neck, or when did I get that wrinkle? You can notice that thought. You can even say to yourself, there's a thought about my appearance, that is judgment happening. But you don't have to be that thought. You don't have to let it define your entire day or your sense of self-worth. The thought can come, the thought can go, and you return to your center. And that is how we learn to age without so much internal suffering. And yes, this certainly takes practice. I am practicing every day when I look in the mirror. But now let's talk about something that really fired me up in that conversation, and that's the gender issue. Aging is also a gender issue because the truth is getting older is easier for men than it is for women in general. And we need to talk about why. Women have had completely different expectations placed on us. We've been valued for our youth, our fertility, our appearance. And when those things start to shift in perimenopause and menopause, suddenly it's like, what is our value now? And this whole attempt to not look as old as we are, this obsession with trying to look young, it's not just vanity, it's survival, because we've internalized this patriarchal value system. We're looking at ourselves through this patriarchal lens. We're asking why or what value does a woman like I have in society? A woman who's not raising kids anymore, a woman who's maybe not willing to serve and compromise anymore, a woman who is becoming uncomfortable, who's making demands, who's done with nonsense. And here's the radical thing about ProAge. It's saying I'm going to look as old as I am because this is my lived experience. This is my life written on my face and my body. And I am going to decide for myself whether I still want to play by the patriarchy's rules or whether I'm ready to opt out. Now, listen, I want to be really honest with you here. I work in this space. I talk about healthy aging all the time. I'm all about building muscle and feeling strong and living well. And even I still get triggered when I see my neck starting to sag or new lines appearing. Especially the neck really gets me. I have those moments. Oh God, really? So yes, it's work, it's constant work, because we've been so deeply conditioned to believe that our value decreases as we age. But here's the thing, when in your life have you ever been completely okay with your body? Honestly? Right, never. We've never been satisfied. Not at 16, not at 20, not at 30, not ever. So now, as we're getting older and moving further away from what society tells us is desirable, the pressure just intensifies. But what if we just stop playing the game? What if we say, this is me, this is my age, this is my body, and I am focusing my energy on what I'm for, not what I'm fighting against. That is the revolution. All right, let's get practical. How do you do it? Well, you do it by catching yourself every time you judge yourself in the mirror and start looking at it and start talking against it. The other thing you can do is meditate. Meditation helps you to find your center. And you can do a simple meditation, and it doesn't have to be, upright and in perfect meditation posture. It can be a simple sitting or even lying down if you want, finding stillness, focusing on your breath and just trying to be. And then when you feel your thoughts coming up and your focus drifting away from your breath, not judging yourself, just catching yourself and refocusing gently. And that is a simple technique to just be in the moment. You're not trying to be a perfect meditator, you're just doing 5 minutes of getting to your center. That's a really nice practice. The other thing you can do is gratitude practice. I know you've heard about gratitude a million times, but listen to why this is important for ProAge thinking. Our brains are wired to look for problems. From an evolutionary standpoint, that makes sense. We needed to spot danger to survive. So our minds are constantly scanning for what's wrong, what's threatening, what needs to be fixed. And that's fine when you're being chased by a lion. But in modern life, it just means we're constantly focused on what's not working, what's declining, what are we losing, what's negative, especially as we age. So we have to actively train our brains to notice what's good, what is working, what do we have, and that's where gratitude comes in. Here's what you could do, and this is what I do, and it generally makes a difference. Either in the morning when you wake up or at night before you go to sleep, ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? And you don't just have to think of big things. Yes, of course, be grateful for health and family and home, but also notice the small stuff, the fact that you had a quiet day with no drama. The morning coffee, that is one of my big things on my gratitude list. That you slept well, maybe. Maybe you had a nice conversation with a friend. Or the fact that nothing really hurt today. Sometimes you can be grateful that nothing exciting happened. That you have a routine, that your nervous system got a rest. We don't always have to look for the big achievements. It's sometimes just okayness. So here's the thing, when you train your mind to look for what's good, what's working, what's beautiful, what you have, you literally rewire your brain. You start to see yourself differently. You start to see your life differently. You start to see your aging differently, because instead of focusing on what you're losing, you're focusing on what you have, what you can do, what's still possible, and the gratitude for actually aging and still being here and doing well. And that shift from scarcity to abundance, that's ProAge thinking right there. All right, let's wrap this up. The ProAge philosophy isn't about pretending that aging is easy or that physical changes don't matter. It's not stupid positivity. It's about asking better questions. Not how do I stop this, but how do I want to experience this? Not what am I losing, but what am I gaining? Not what am I against, but what am I for? So here are your 3 action steps. Number 1, define your ProAge vision. Sit down and answer the questions. How do I want to be as I age? What matters most to me? What do I want more of? And what can I let go of? Number 2, start a 5-minute daily meditation practice. Just 5 minutes every day. Use, the simple technique of focusing on your breath. Notice your thoughts, return to your breath. That's it. And number 3, practice gratitude daily. Morning or evening or both, it doesn't matter. Just name 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Include the small stuff. Train your brain to see what's good. And remember, we are perfect as we are. We just need to recognize it. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to fight against time. You just need to decide who you want to be and move towards that with intention. If this resonates with you, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I share tools and insights for women 40 plus who want to age powerfully and on their own terms. The full conversation with Elena is available on my German podcast, Hallo Wechseljahre. If you speak German, you can of course listen to that. And let me know in the comments, what's the one thing you're choosing to be for instead of against? I will see you in the next video. Take care.